We've been talking about ionic compounds. We talked about binary ionic compounds and ionic compounds with polyatomic ions. And now we're going to talk about hydrated ionic compounds. So these are ionic compounds that have a specific number of water molecules associated with each formula unit. This is the hydrated form of the cobalt 2 chloride, and this is the anhydrous form. Anhydrous literally meaning without water. When you are hydrated, when you are well hydrated, your body has enough water, right? We can see that the color of these two substances is different, and I want to point out that this is not just what happens when you get this wet, okay? That would be a mixture of this compound and water. This is actually a different compound because for every formula unit, COCl2, there are 6 water molecules in the crystalline structure. So we just need to be able to understand what these formulas mean, calculate their molar masses, and possibly name them. This is not a big deal. So the formula for Epsom salts is MgSO4.7H2O. So the anhydrous compound is magnesium sulfate. The dot here is not a multiplication sign. It just means these two things go together, and that there are 7 H2O molecules for every one formula unit. We can name that. We name the ionic compound. They're getting very excited in 3A next door. We can name this the same way we name any other ionic compound. This is magnesium sulfate. And then this business at the end, we're going to use a prefix that means 7. So hepta, and the water we call hydrate. So heptahydrate. COCl2.H2O. The COCl2 is cobalt 2 chloride. And for 6 waters, we'll say hexahydrate. These are the prefixes that we use for hydrates. And we'll see that we use these for 2 other ways of naming things as well. So the one kind of weird one here is hemi, which means half. But think about a hemisphere. That's half of a sphere, right? We've got mono, di, tri. Tetra's one that kind of messes with people. That means 4. Penta, hexa, you should be familiar with a pentagon, a hexagon, etc.
Close to Spanish.
Yeah, they are close to Spanish. And hexa and 6 both have X's in them. Another kind of odd one is hepta, so that's 7, octa, nona, deca. So let's practice and name these hydrates. You name the ionic compound first, and then the hydrate part. So how do we name CaSO4? It's calcium. Yeah, it's going to be calcium sulfate, hemihydrate. Does calcium need a Roman numeral?
No.
No. Why? It's in group 2. Group 1A, 2A, 3A, zinc and silver. No Roman numeral. Everybody else, Roman numeral. Any questions about that? How about this one? BaCl2.6H2O. Barium. And barium also doesn't need a Roman numeral because it's in group 2A. For the chlorine here, we take the element named chlorine, and that becomes chloride. And what's the prefix for 6? Hexa. Like a hexagon has 6 sides. Hexahydrate. Then we can also take the name and write the formula. When we're writing formulas for ionic compounds, we do need to look at the individual ions with their charges to figure out how to put them together. So copper is Cu. What's the charge? 2. 2 plus. It says it right here. Copper 2 plus. And then sulfate. Yeah, memorize this one. We should all be able to guess that it is sulfur and oxygen and some kind of a negative charge. So when you're doing problems, give it your best guess, and then check and correct yourself if needed. So how can we put these two guys together so that their charges add up to 0? They already do, right? There's a +2 and a -2, and so if we just shove them together, say, hey guys, scoot over, and then pentahydrate, we'll put a dot there, 5 H2O. Any questions?